Tanika, thank you so much for agreeing for an interview. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Tanika?
Correct. Yeah, it's Tanika.
Right.
No,
Yeah. So
thank you for having me, Stephen.
anytime. Why don't you take a few minutes and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tanika. Both of my parents are South African. I was born in Perth, Western Australia. And my parents then moved to Melbourne because of my dad's work, and I ended up doing my rest of my schooling here in Melbourne. And just kept going to South Africa on holiday. And once I went the first time, I just didn't want to, I just wanted to go every year and just kept going back. So, yeah, and now I'm starting my own business in baking South African desserts to the South African community here in Melbourne.
Right. So you guys so how often do you guys go back to South Africa?
So we were going at least once a year. My auntie always makes a joke because she says you were just here for Christmas and now you're here for Easter again. And I just watched the sheet. So we were always going back and forth. But the hardest thing was always saying goodbye. But then the best thing was always counting down until our next South African trip. So I always enjoyed going to South Africa. I had my 16th birthday there, my 18th birthday. So it's always such a joy to be there with family and just experience the culture and where my parents are from. And I still say when people ask me, where are you from? I always say I'm South African, even though I was born in Australia. So I'm
Where?
proud to be a South African.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah, don't ever let that go because I can tell you, we've been out of the country for eight, almost going on 9 years now. We've done a set of years in the UK, and then we've been here for almost 6 years now. And one of the things that concerns us is that our kids will never be as South African as we are, and
Yes.
it's fine, it's fair, and you can't always protect the language when you move countries, but you can do your best to protect the traditions and
Yeah.
things like and your culture and things like music and the way we raise our children in our cooking, in our baking,
Yes.
like you do, for
100%.
instance. And tell me,
Yes.
where in
Yes.
South Africa you got are your parents from?
Yeah, sure. So my dad's from Johannesburg and my mom's from Durban. So apparently I'm a real colored, as they say,
That's
because I'm
funny.
the mix of both.
That's very funny. Now,
Yeah.
now I need to tell you this. I don't think I told
Hmm.
you this before. I don't know if you remember, I bought 2 boxes of your Malayan Koeksisters at
Correct.
this
Yes.
event a month or so ago. Now,
Yes.
I had 1 box here at home, and we
Uh-huh.
during the week we ate it because the nice thing about those cookies is they last a lot longer than the sugary ones that I also love very much. And I took the other box to work. Now,
Yes.
I work with a lot of South Africans, but it just so happens that that day none of them were there.
Hmm.
So I took them into the
Hmm.
staff room. Now I work in a school. This is my day job.
Hmm.
I took him into the
Okay.
staff room, and a few people that was just like, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" Because everyone, whenever there's food coming into the staff room, everyone's like a bunch of flies. They're like, yeah, because we're always hungry at school. So I tried to explain to them the culture, and I explained to them the cook sisters and where they come from in South Africa, and uh,
Hmm.
that this one is very different from the other one that we also get. Now that confused them
Hmm.
completely, but they still wanted to try it. So
Yes.
I I took it. I put a piece of it in the microwave. I warmed it up for a few seconds, and
Hmm.
wow, they were eating that. That box didn't last 10 minutes, and there was a problem. And yeah, they are the best served hot. Just slightly warm. That's how I find it.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
people disagree because it's like it's very donutty, and yeah,
Correct.
but I loved them. They were really good. So thank you. And
No, thank you.
one of the reasons I was so keen on this interview is because you're also one
Hmm.
of our first 10 vendors on the Oorsee
Hmm.
app. Now, tell me, I know we've had some Telstra issues back and forth. in your honest opinion, how have you,
Yes.
and I'm always open for critique with these things because we want to improve, because there's several vendor systems out there. There's Amazon, there's eBay, there's what's the other popular one? Yeah, and they're all very tricky and to upload products, to upload images, and how did you find the Oorsee app in terms of uploading your products?
So easy. Honestly, I remember I started a Shopify account maybe I'd say 4 years ago, and I struggled uploading images or knowing how to do a domain, but everything was there. All the products was there, the links were available, and it was simple. And it also showed me the percentage of how much I actually filled out my profile, which was really helpful too, because if I didn't fill out one section, that would then influence the product or the shop or the storefront that I had. It would then notify me to say, look, you've only have completed 60% of your profile instead of, the rest of, that 40%. So yeah, it was really easy to use. Uploading the images were easy. I liked how you could put in the stock as well. So you can also vary the stock, how many views people are looking at your storefront as well, and who's interested in it. So it's really simple, and it's such a great aspect of everybody being on one website and all these people that are vendors, because at the end of the day, everything's going into technology, and it's simple, and it's there, and it's one link that people can just shop and have a look for if they're looking for, I don't know, South African t-shirt or placemats that everybody has with the South African zebras and the giraffes, or looking for Koeksisters or Multats. Everything is on the website, and it's just simple for the buyer, but also the seller as well. And I was even searching and looking at other vendors as well that was on there. So yeah, it's such a great community, and people are posting events and etc. So especially because Melbourne's quite a big city, and not everybody can meet up or talk to this one and that one, and with busy schedules, and people are working hard these days. Unfortunately, we don't have as much time on our hands. So knowing that you can click on a link straight away and see what events are happening and see how other people are feeling about different things as well. So it's really, it was really simple, and it was a great usage and such a great idea to then go into and uplift the South African community, and that we can support and encourage one another.
Well, thank you for that. That was the idea from the beginning, was to give a one-stop shop for South Africans, not a shop per se, but a community. Because from when we started with this whole idea there was never really money involved, because everything's free. But as soon as people started asking, well, where do you get this? Where's the best biltong? Where's that? It triggered something, and we tried various versions of the vendor system because we really wanted to make it possible for the housewife to be able to earn money while at home. Because a lot of times and it's a very traditional thing, where you'll find a husband going to work every morning, and the mother has all these skills, and she's a baking legend in the community, but she never really gets rewarded for what she does. And the idea was to put a bit of power back into their hands, where they can go and they can upload Biscuit and Koeksisters and those sort of things, and even homemade crafts, and just maybe make a bit of income out of it. And we never wanted to, for those businesses that joined the vendor system that already has websites, the idea was never to compete with their own websites, but rather be an extra branch of their business. And they are more than welcome. So you, for instance, if you've got another website and you also do markets and those sorts of things, you can go and put those links on there so people can find you. Use the event system, for instance. If you are part of an event that is not on Oorsee, post the event on it, post the link to it, say that you're going to be there, you're going to have a table there with all your treats, and then at least that helps promote your business and get the word out. Now, thanks for that. And in a minute, I would like to just share my screen and go through. Let's go through your storefront and see what that looks like. Now, you said you said your parents are both South African, and you bake all these South African treats. I want to know more about that. I want to know what inspired you. You're Australian by all yeah, by all sense of the word. But I mean, what
Yes.
inspired you to just yeah, you know what? My parents are South African. I am proud of that. I want to explore that culture a bit further. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, 100%.
What
Well,
was your first? What
I
was your first thing that you baked that was South African?
Koeksisters. It was the Cape Malay Koeksisters. That was the first thing that I baked. So I had finished my degree in 2019, which was actually in business entrepreneurship. I
Right.
never thought I would ever bake or ever bake South African desserts at all. Had finished that, and then just before the pandemic broke out, I decided to go and teach overseas in China in 2020. So I was there for
Wow.
2 years teaching English there. And then my contract had ended after the 2 years of the lockdown and nobody traveling in and out. And I said to my mom, I really miss being in South Africa. I really miss my family. I really just miss the culture and the hope and the dancing and the food. And I was like, I just want to go on holiday there. So once my contract then ended and I finished my time off in South Africa, I decided, okay, in China, I decided, let me go to South Africa. And I was in South Africa for a couple of months, and I thought, no, I want to stay a little bit longer. So ended up extending my stay. And my uncle, who was staying with us at the time, he was unemployed. So as a South African, you always make a plan
Oh yeah.
when there is no plan. And they said, okay, let's just start making Koeksisters and selling them. And then because I was living in the house, I was like, okay, I'll help you out. So every Saturday and Sunday, my auntie would teach me how to make Koeksisters. And I remember saying to her, oh, I just want to sit down. My feet are sore. My back is sore. There's too much oil. And I would just complain. And we would be making 15 dozen to 20 dozen Koeksisters, and it'll be frying and syruping and the boxes and the coconut. And I remember just thinking, oh, why am I doing this? Why would I spend my time? And my hair was smelling like oil, and
You're a
it was
teacher.
just not good. And then my holiday ended in South Africa, and I came back, and I thought, oh, you know what? I've learned that skill in South Africa. Let me just make it at home and then see who wants. And then reached out to a few South Africans around in the community, and they said, yeah, they want it. And it just became basically when I started, it was just every weekend, the same people that ordered just kept wanting it. And I had regulars coming, and then I was like, okay, there's a bit of a demand for this. And then I was like, okay, let me try another dessert. So I ring my auntie, please send me the recipe for milk tart. So she translates the Afrikaans and puts it in English. And then next minute I'm doing milk tarts. And then people were like, please, can you do red cakes if you like red cakes? Learned how to do that, how to bake red cakes, started making red cakes. Then it Hertzoggies as well, which I never had ever. And then I just learned how to bake it. And then, what I learned from it was that it's amazing how when you're doing something that feels so mundane, which was making those Koeksisters every single weekend in South Africa, I didn't know that it was leading me for the next thing that was going to happen in my life, basically, and something that I was going to then bring over here as something that just felt so boring and so so tiring at the same time. And now it's like I can do this with so much joy because it's bringing a culture, our South African culture, here in Australia, and I see the joy that it brings. And even when there's new South Africans that happen to come to Melbourne, and they message and they're like, you made us feel at home just by me ordering a dozen of Koeksisters. And I thought to myself, wow, it's amazing what food can do to someone, how it just brings them back to that nostalgic feeling of I'm at home, even then when they're not, at home. It's like home away from home. And and it just went from there. And I just felt the joy in it and the purpose in it, that even though it can, be a lot of handwork and time consuming, but at the end of it, it's those people that get the smile and the joy of feeling that hope and that culture that's in South Africa here in Australia. And that's ultimately what I want to bring, is that that sense of home away from home here in Australia.
And it's spot on. It's spot on, and it's not just food; it's music. I mean, I've seen that. Now, I've interviewed several people that is in the South African foods industry. Several South African musicians, and they all have the same power. It's just they bring you closer to home, or they bring home to you. So, well, I mean, we do it often. We'll cook a proper South African meal. I've got a bottle maker I bought from Kalahari Kabu. He's also a very generous sponsor of the app. He's giving me the third free machine next week to give away to a lucky winner. But my wife and I spent the other evening making Koeksisters, the Dutch Koeksisters, and yeah, I don't think we'll do that again soon. They were great. But it's so much work, and the kitchen will look like there was a gunfight in there, and yeah. So, but
yes,
it was worth it. I know it was the rugby the next day, so we were like all excited when we baked Russ, we got Koeksisters, we got Bolton,
wow,
and yeah, and I don't know if you've seen one of our other videos, Lindy the coworker, Lindy. She has Lindy Sweet Studio. She bakes for Tony's. And I would encourage you to go and watch her video, because she can really be an inspiration for the way you're heading, because she's been in the industry a bit longer, but she caters slightly different, and she's also up north, so her products gets delivered more up to Queensland and those places, and then obviously every second week down to Tony's. Go watch her video, and if you really want to get some advice, she is a wonderful person. Reach out to her. She'll love to speak to you, and she will definitely put you on the right track to settle you into that line of work. If that is really what you want to do going forward, then she's a great person to speak to, a great motivator. Now, for our next bit in the video, I thought maybe let's go through your vendor system. I might just... sorry, do you have any other questions before I get into this bit here?
No, it's all going good.
Okay, great. So this obviously is the website version of the app. A lot of people, they only see the app, they never really see the website. The website is, in some ways, I prefer it, because you can do a little bit more. Although the app's pretty packed and it's got all the features you want, there's little things like if you go into groups, it's got a live map featuring on the top end, where you can actually see where the active groups is in the world, including your area. We've got a huge Australian following up everywhere from Vic, Sydney up to Brisbane, even in Cairns, and then besides Australia, also a very big New Zealand following, and then yeah, pretty much everywhere. The UK, I think the UK might be beating Australia a bit with a couple of users, because yeah, people do love downloading the app from there. So in order to showcase the shop a bit, as part of our interview, I'm going to click on Shop Oorsee. Now, Shop Oorsee basically takes you to a separate section of Oorsee. It is a big endeavor, and therefore it needs its own little space. And that's the way I've set it up. I wanted to make it easier for people to find products, so I've added the search bar right on top. Let's go down to so there you've already got your milk tarts, your red cakes, and your Hertzoggies, and your Koeksisters listed. Correct, that is beautiful. I love it. Let me scroll down to, I made a small video just to help people get their accounts activated, because I'll get people registering for vendor accounts, and then they'll mail me saying, but it needs to be activated. Upload your logo and your banner photo first, mate, and then I'll get you published. Not a problem, because if it's not loaded, then the first thing you see, yeah, it doesn't
blink.
Yeah, it doesn't the rest of the things people are doing. Right, so here we go. That's well done. I like that. Straight to the point. Awesome. And if people don't want to if they don't want to buy off the shop, that's perfectly fine. They can call you directly. That was very clever. I reckon, and let's make this a bit of a training exercise as well. I reckon
Okay.
we just need to make this a bit sharper. I don't think people
Okay.
will have a problem viewing this on the phone. That will come out pretty clear. But for the 20% of people that is using desktop computers, that might help. Although everything I can read all the information that's on there.
Okay.
Right, let's jump straight into one of your products, Hertzoggies. You know, I've had Hertzoggies like 4 times in my life. I should.
Really?
It's about time that I actually, yeah, that I ordered that from you, shouldn't I?
Yes, yes. If you wanted to, you're good.
I will. I will.
No pressure.
Well, I need to reach out to all the vendors because Christmas is coming, and the one thing
Yes.
about the shop is when I've set all this up, I really wanted the system to run itself, but it's not that simple. You need to put in a little bit of effort from my end, and I need to reach out to the vendor, say, listen, it is Christmas. Are you going to do like a 10% store-wide discount, or, and all those sorts of things? So yeah, I'll and then obviously buying Christmas presents for my family. Why not use my own shop? I mean, and support my vendors in the process. So
Yes, that's a good idea.
I really, really like it. I think it's really well done. Let's jump into the back end, shall we? So
Okay,
as
sure.
administrator, I have the power, the ability to view as a vendor. I'm just going to jump in there. This is solely just for support. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to jump in there. Now, for any viewers viewing net sales, she launched the shop like 2 days ago. Don't even go there. Right, products.
Yeah.
Right. So you said you found this system really simple. I mean, I'm just gonna do a practical quickly. So to upload a product is it's basically just put a product in there, upload your image, upload your price, and if you have a discounted price, which always looks nice on the shop side, add a discounted price. Think about how much money you can maybe take off a product, and stick that in there. A subscription is good. The better the subscription, the better your SEO. Google eats text for breakfast. If you have, the more text you have in your products and specify what it is you're selling and where you're selling it, the higher your rankings will feature. I've set geolocation, so and I know that's pretty important to you because you don't want to sell outside of your delivery range. We can talk about that down the line because there is things you can ship. And you can go a little bit wider than what you're going. But when it comes to things like dairy products, I know it becomes complicated because it needs to be refrigerated and those sorts of things.
Yes.
Right. So stock, you mentioned stock's easy to add. That's right. And then keywords, if you know anything about SEO, and normally I would say if you don't know, leave it. I'll as I get time, I'll add SEO in there. But you can add like Koeksisters or Hertzoggies or all those little things in your SEO in this section here, and that'll also help give you a bit of a boost. Right. And then bulk discount, yeah, you can do that. And then attributes. Now, attributes is a tricky one. I'm not, and I don't think you'll ever need it unless you're selling different weighted products of one single item. So, say for instance, you've got 100 grams of Hertzoggies, you've got a 200 gram option as well as a 300 gram option. That's when you will have to create more than one variable on a attribute. Don't let me overcomplicate it. But the people that's been selling on e-commerce systems for a while now, they understand the system and they will get quite excited if they see it is actually there. Yes, we do make sure all ends are covered. Right. That's it for uploading a product. Now, the very, very important bit, which I know most of the vendors goes to first when they sign up, is how do I withdraw my money? Easy. You there's a $50 limit, but that's not really important. I might just make that $10 or whatever. The moment you start selling, your balance will show in here. It is all securely stored on several different payment gateways. Depends on how your buyers bought. If they bought with PayPal, it'll be available from there. If they bought on Stripe, which is the credit card system, it'll be available on there, and you can request a withdrawal. And that's pretty much the part that I would like to cover. It is for those people selling from other countries that's not Australia, important to set your base currency. And this is also covered in the help video. And shipping is a complete video on its own, because it's complicated enough as it is, depending on how you ship, if you're shipping per weight or per distance or those sorts of things. That's why for anyone out there looking to sign up for the vendor system, don't stress it. I offer to set the shipping up for you. So I've done that pretty much for every single vendor that's on the site. And yeah. Any questions?
No, it's such a great idea, because, you know, like you said, there's all these South Africans doing different things in different areas, and it's like we needed that one platform for us just to communicate and see what each other are doing, and then to encourage each other and be like, okay, look, I did my you know, my storefront like this, I put the price up to this, and just being able to communicate with you too, and you know your product and the store inside and out, and you were so easy to engage with, and you know, very helpful. And when I had those technical difficulties, you were there to support and help. So it's a great platform and a great idea to start off, because people who, you know, are like me, that have just, you know, started off and are wanting to then reach out to other people and say, look, this is what's happening. It's great to have everybody on that one platform, so that we could all then support each other in that aspect, and even just looking at different events and networking.
Well,
and making friends.
Thank you. I work in customer service. I work in IT, but a big part of my job is to know and understand the customer. And that is very important. If the customer service is not on point, your business is not going to do well. Now, let's talk about that for a few seconds. Shop Oorsee is young. It's a very early stages. There's a couple of hundred products on there. We don't have like a ton of users flooding the shop at the moment. But as the vendors upload their products and the product starts creeping up to the thousands, because in order for, and this is how I see it, in order for Shop Oorsee to really do well for the vendors, is if there's something of everything available everywhere. So I've got eyes on the traffic that comes through the shop, and I can see a lot of New Zealand traffic visiting Canada, and I can see a lot of USA traffic visiting Australia, because they're looking at those products. They want what those countries are selling. But because of the shipping costs and all those sorts of things, you don't always have the same people, or you don't have people shipping internationally. So it's up to me to find vendors worldwide that's selling more or less the same thing. And this is the exciting bit, and this is what makes, and you're quite coincidentally, today we signed the paperwork, the partnership with SA Events, which is pretty much the biggest events company for South African exports in the world. Yes, so quite coincidentally, that's now happening, and the traffic in the app has went up quite considerably in the last 8 hours. I think we had about 50 or so registrations since we made it public. So the more traffic flows through the app, the more people are looking at the Oorsee shop, and the more sales our vendors will be getting. And even if it's not just sales, but just awareness, because awareness is the next thing. It's very important just to help our vendors sell. And at the end of the day, that is one of the reasons we started all this, is to support South Africans living abroad.
Yes,
Tanika, thank you so much.
Congratulations too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. It's we're grateful for any support that we can get. At the end of the day, I do this for fun. I've got a job. This is all.
Yes.
We're having a blast.
And I was going to say, it was such a good initiative and platform to do. So yeah, we're thankful for you to provide this platform for all of us, and so that we can support and create that awareness as South Africans living abroad.
Thank you. Tanika, thank you so much for your time. Your products are great. I've tasted several of them, and they're wonderful. And I will definitely place an order with you again. And I'll see you at the events out there. And from my end, when
Definitely.
I know, and yes, we are privy to certain information that we know of certain events that's coming, which I will not mention too much about just yet. As soon as I get like days and hours and those events, I will definitely reach out to SA events to see what is allowed and what's not, and I'll reach out to the vendors and tell you what we can do for you guys.
Oh, awesome. That'll be awesome. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Tanika, thank you so much for your time. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Stephen.
And,
yes, you too.
Enjoy the public holiday tomorrow.
I will. You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. See you, Stephen. Thanks again.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay. See you. Bye.